Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Live Coffee Talk Show. This is Michelle, and I'm your host. Welcome to my Live Coffee Talk Show. And this is the show where I bring you love, courage, and connection. And these are the real life transformation that happen in our life. And the purpose and the intention of this show is so that this is something that you can relate to everyday life. And every once in a while, we have those moments where we dip into our lowest point of our life and we're wondering, am I ever going to pull through this? And I'm hoping by bringing these shows to you that you will find some courage, love, and connection that you can relate to it in your life. And again, I'm Michelle, I'm your host. Today, I'm going all the way to Kenya to bring someone really special to the show because I believe that our world is so rich in culture, in diversity, and also in the story. So I would love to have you join me today and hear from Charles. So Charles, welcome Charles. Charles Edward is the founder of Five Star Children's Center based in Kangemi slum in Kenya. And take care of 300 needy children, most of which are from the streets. Charles himself has a story that is a true proof that your past does not equal our future. Born and raised in a very poor family where he sometimes worked with his mother in other people's farm in order to get money to supplement what his father used to provide. His living condition got worse after Charles and his wife got evicted from their rental house. Despite all the obstacles Charles were experiencing in his life, his biggest dream was to change the way his parents lived. However, it was too late. In 2011, his parents passed away before Charles could ever fulfill his dream. Today, Charles is a change agent within the school and helping people ending their self-limiting beliefs. I never believed in myself to start working on my goals. We all have the ability to live our dreams, and it all started from having the correct mindset and believing that it is possible. So ladies and gentlemen, I can't speak today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Charles.
Yeah.
Welcome, Charles.
Michelle, how are you?
I'm good.
Yes,
I know we had a little technical difficulty. It's always trouble. Thank you so much for joining me from Kenya, all the way from Kenya.
Thank you so much. I'm also grateful to be part of this show. Hopefully you are getting me right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
tell us about yourself. You know, I know I gave a really general description of who you are, but you are the principal. You founded the Five Star Children's Center in Kenya. What inspired you to start the school?
Yeah, Michelle, let me just get from the point. You just introduced me in a better way. You know, I was born in a very poor village, and particularly a very poor family back in the village, back at home. And I'm one of those 7 children my parents brought up and raised from their minimal sources of income. And we had very little in the way of material possession. We didn't have electricity like we have right now. We didn't have soap. We made it from grass. You can't imagine. And we didn't have bank account. We lived from hand to mouth. Many a times we walked almost more than 2 kilometers to school and back home. And one thing I like very much about my parents is that these people were great proponents of education, and they instilled in us this idea that whatever it is that you place your mind and you set your mind to, and you work really hard towards, you can achieve. And that one was a kind of a game-changing part of our lives. My mother used to say, son, remember this. Every day in our land here in Africa, when a gazelle wakes up, it knows it must outrun the fastest lion, or else it will be killed. She said, on the same note, son, every morning when a lion gets up, it knows that it must run faster than the slowest gazelle, or else it will starve to death. And she continued and said, it doesn't matter whether you are the lion or the gazelle. What matters is that each and every morning when the sun gets up, you got to be running. And, you know, such kind of environment, such kind of the upkeep, the raising up in kind of a very poor environment, and these lessons that I got from these wonderful friends of mine, which are my parents, these are the things that inspire me in life. These are the things that changed my life and made me have a different mindset when I step into the city. And so, you know, when you go into the city, you're getting from the village, you have higher perspective, you have a different picture. You are going to live in a beautiful house, you are going to eat wonderful food. And when you reach into the city and you realize that you are staying in a very poor life kind of conditions compared to where you came from, you have a different view of the world, and you start seeing that you can also.
Charles, are you there? I think we're having a internet problem, and this is sometimes it's a beauty of connecting with a world without borders. Sometimes because we run into a situation where the internet connection is not there. And are you there? Are you back, Charles?
Yes, Michelle,
Yes.
I am around.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because I think we lost you a little bit. So
Yeah, maybe you let me know from where you
we left
lost.
off. Yeah, we left off where you were describing the going to the big city, and now you have a different perspective
Yeah,
when you get
yeah,
to the big cities.
exactly. That is another thing that really changed my life, because stepping into the city.
I think we
Yes,
just got you got the internet got spotty again. I think internet is not our friend today, huh? That's okay.
I've just I've just changed the whatever the connection. Maybe that one would work better.
Perfect.
So
Okay, so you left off where
that
describing the big city. Go ahead.
yeah, when I stepped into the city and I came into the city, and when I looked at our life back home
Mhm.
and saw that our life was a little bit better at home compared to the life at this in the city. Children are staying in the streets, no food to eat, and the houses that we live in the city are houses made of iron sheet, compared to the ones that are made of mud at home, which are more secure, and we feel better and warm in those houses. And therefore, from that point, I realized that my life had meaning and my life had value, and that I had much more to offer to the world than to just ask for what to be given into the world.
Hmm.
Mhm,
And thank you so much. I think there's so many layers to the story that you just shared, right? I
mhm,
think a lot of us, especially people who lives in the city, and we're seeing all these richness, and we're seeing so many things that we just take it for granted in our life. Getting
mhm,
up in the morning and there's food on our table, and there's we go to work and there's a car to drive, and we take all these external things for granted, and we think that, well, why am I not happy? And there's always something else that we're looking for, not realizing that some parts of the world, that's actually what the way that we're living. It's a luxury. It's
mhm.
something that a lot of people dream of. And what's really interesting from the story that you share is that once you got to the city, it changed your perspective, but then you were thinking about going back home, because how the home is really creating a very intimate and secure and safe place for you to be. So I'm wondering, what made you wanted to open the school is really to bring that this feeling that you got, the growing mindset that you developed back to home. So what are some of the challenges that you have experienced while building this home for all these other children? That's 300 children in
Yeah,
your
Michelle.
school.
Yeah, most of the things come in life, and most of the things while they come in life, they come with also some handful kind of challenges out of life. And I remember part of our life when we started this thing. I started the school with only $10. And that one is a message that I always give, that from wherever you are and what you have more than enough to start giving to the family, to the society, becoming a person of value and a person of contribution. You don't have to look for the money. You have to look for what you have inside of you to invest into the society, to start giving back to the society, to start becoming a change agent. And when we started this, and everything was like picking up, and young boys and girls from the street were coming because they found that here there was more kind of a safer place for them compared to the streets. And when we started this in our house. And what we experienced was that the landlord refused for us to stay there because like we kind of making some good money out of these children. And we told them that we are just trying to give some value. We are only trying to add our value to the lives of these boys and girls. But we were kicked off, and we started walking with these boys and girls inside the rain, looking for a place. Would you imagine that you have children and parents have given you children and you have them, and right now you are not with them at a safer place. You are walking with them in the rain, looking for some better place to keep them. It's kind of shocking. And sometimes you kind of lose trust even to these parents who are not able to provide for their children in terms of academic or having education. But as much as they see this, sometimes they lose trust in you. But God is always faithful in whatever thing that you do in your life, much more that you are trying to provide value into lives of other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing. You know, you brought out a really good point. Like a $10 can mean so much for places like, you know, Kenya, can mean so much like places in Cambodia is where I used to volunteer. And you know, that $1, people have to go around on the street and finding rubbish. They find rubbish to collect them and to like that's their job. Every day they go and find rubbish so that they can make that living of the things that we just take for granted. And so what you're doing is truly amazing, first of all, and I really admire you starting wanting to bring the education to the children and to really establishing, you know, what home would mean to you, and that you describe finding values. What are some of the values that you found along this journey for yourself?
I think I had a lot of things that I picked from the, the, the journey. And when I come back from where we started, because we have experienced a lot of things out of our lives, because I remember back in those days, we sleeping on the floor. And that is my wife and I, after being evicted from our rental house because only we couldn't afford to pay our rent. And Brannis and I walking up in the morning that very time, and I saw Brannis standing in the middle of the house, and I was seated there looking at her. And in that particular time, I dipped my hand into the pocket, and all I could get from my pocket was only 5 cents in terms of dollars. You know, I felt as stupid as a sheep because the realization that I wasn't able to provide for my family, particularly Brannis and the little innocent child she was bearing in her womb, that lit fires of panic and pain into my whole body. You know, I, at that particular time, the hair at the back of my neck was standing up, and I felt the fumes exceeding my nose. I thought that my chest was going to pop and I was going to say something in this family that I would regret forever. And at that point, I realized I had hit rock bottom. But it is through hitting that rock bottom that I came to discover that my life had been broken and shattered and crumbled into a million pieces. And so, how do I build myself back up again when my whole life has been broken into a million pieces? I rose from the floor, wondering what all this pain and sorrow was for in my life. And I stood there as streams of questions raised in my mind like an overflowing river. Can there be meaning in this mess?
Wow.
Can I find some beauty out of this mess? And if there, then where can I find beauty out of this mess in my own brokenness? Where can I find beauty? And one thing I come to realize is that the best conversation that you can ever have in your life is the conversation that you have between you and yourself. There you get some insights and very wonderful answers that are really crafted for you. And from that conversation is where I came to discover that my life could become a mosaic, that I could become an art piece formed from the pieces of me that once put together could be reveal something far more beautiful and far more powerful that I ever dreamt of when I was whole. And it is at that particular time that I made that courageous, bold decision.
Mm.
And I made a decision that this is the last time I'm here and this is the last time I'm experiencing such kind of a thing. I made a decision that doing what I was required to do in order to provide for my family, particularly Branish and the little innocent child she was bearing in her womb, and those young children that I wanted to take care of, was a non-negotiable business. I made a decision that I was tired and enough was enough, and I was tired of being sick and tired. I was tired of being a whiner and sad and unhappy, and I was tired of being broken.
Mm.
I was ready for something totally unforgettable, physically, mentally, and even psychologically. And I had made a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to change my story forever.
Mm.
It is at that point that I went for my Gideon Bible that was landing on the floor. And that particular time, I opened the Bible. I didn't know how to open the Bible. And I just flipped the pages of the Bible. And on flipping the pages of the Bible, I landed on Philippians chapter 3, verses 13 to 14. And it said, brothers and sisters, I do not consider myself yet to have taken hold of it. But one thing I do, forgetting what is behind and straining towards what is ahead, I press towards the goal to win the prize for which God has called me heavenwards in Jesus' name. And that verse was a game changer into my life. It it interrupted the whole thing and my thoughts and my feelings about this family and about these young boys and girls that I was going to take care of. And at that point, I moved to where Brannis was, where she was standing right in the middle of the floor. I went to where she was. I went on my knees and held her tightly, then leaned to her to listen to the baby that she was bearing in her womb. Then, as though the baby would hear what I was just about to say, I sobbed a little bit to muster some courage. Then I audibly said, baby, your daddy will never be broke again. Never. And that's a commitment that I had made between me and this little unborn baby in my family, between me and my family, between me and my wife. I will never be broke again, and I will work hard. And that courage of making bold decisions in life is what we want people to form in their lives. And well, that is one of the values that I learned out of my life, that if you have the courage to make decisions that can change your life and starting to pursue your goals and dreams beyond your comfort zone, you can live your dreams. Michelle.
Oh my gosh. That is probably the most amazing things I have heard this whole entire week. And what you brought up is such a beautiful transformational journey, right? And I think, a lot of us who's sitting home and we're going through this COVID-19 experience, and here we are, we're feeling scared, and maybe some of us actually lost our job, and there's we have no idea. We could be reaching into our pocket and just finding that last 50 cents right now. And that is, like you said, it's a lot of fear, panic, and anxiety. There's a
Yes,
lot of
exactly.
unknown. Yeah.
Exactly. I feel that if there is a time that we need to stop to begin to start to believe in ourselves like never before, then that time is right now. When you look at what is going on, like you said, the coronavirus is taking over the world. The economy of the world is coming down. People are losing their jobs. Most people are staying at home. And most worst of that is the rate of violence and fear and stress in the air. I feel that there is a lot of stress and fear and doubt in the air like never doubting. Everybody's doubting if America is going to make it through this season. Everybody's doubting if Europe is going to make it, if Asia going to make it, if Africa will make it out of this season. And the worst of it all is doubting ourselves and fearing with all the abilities that we have. If you doubt yourself, you will never achieve anything worthwhile out of your life.
It's absolutely true. And I also feel that, you know, what you brought up is a good point about, you know, how you describing it as, you know, you were being broken. You were broken. Not only just the financial broken, but it was like it was emotionally broken. And what's interesting about things that pieces that's broken is a lot of time we don't think about, you know, the whole picture. We look at one piece that's being broken. But we have to realize that as the pieces are broken, things are also falling into place. Had we not experienced that brokenness, then things wouldn't come out of that brokenness, right? So just because it may be a break, it may be uncomfortable in that moment, doesn't mean that it's going to be staying that way for the rest of our life. So I'm really curious, how long did it take you from the point where you reach into your pocket and you realize there's only 50 cents to the point where you have this huge realization that if I believe in myself, everything is possible? Like, how long did it take you to get to that state?
Yes, Michelle, you know, one thing I come to realize that it doesn't take time, and the time that will take depends on the bold decision that you make out of your life. I spent most of my years never believing in myself, and that's why my first dream uh, was jeopardized by this fear and doubt, because I had goals and dreams, but I never believed in myself that I could achieve these dreams. And the dreams that I had for myself was to change the lives of my parents and this poverty alignment that we lived in. I wanted to pluck them out of this poverty and take them to some level of life. But this developing this courage to just begin and start walking your dream was the thing that took me almost 15 years, never believing in myself and never believing that I could start. And when I say it's easy to start, and it only takes commitment for you to start, but it takes persistence to get to the end of your journey, to get the result of your dreams and goals. And when I started, I just started and it just took place. So it doesn't matter how where you are and what you have. And I don't promise you that it will tick off immediately when you start. But once you discover what you want out of your life and pursue that thing, it will give you that fulfillment. Even if things don't pick up at the moment, it gives you that fulfillment and you feel like your life has fallen in place.
So beautiful. I love the word persistence. And sometimes I like to use the word consistency, right?
Mhm.
It means consistency means that you just keep you just keep doing
Exactly.
one thing. So if it's pursuing a goal and you have a goal, you have a big dream of taking your parents and provide them, you know, it's your return to what they have given to you. And just having that big dream, we have to keep focusing on doing it. You know, if you want to
Yeah.
start a business, becoming a coach, or, you know, only having 7-figure digit in your bank, just by thinking about it and having that vision of achieving it and just keep showing up, consistently showing up, no matter, you know, good day, bad day, off day, on day, it doesn't matter. You just keep doing it.
Yeah,
Persistency
that, that is the thing. Just pushing on to what you want. One American president once said, nothing in the world can take the place of persistence.
mm,
And she said, talent will not. The world is full of unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not, and rewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education alone will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. And he said, the slogan "Press On" has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race. And therefore, if you persist in what you want to do out of your life, I believe that persistence is the greatest virtue of life that you need, apart from any other virtue that you need. And once you keep on doing what you're doing and persist, something will happen.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. You said it very beautifully, and that's really it. You know, I have this 3D rule: determination, discipline, and dedication. So it
Mhm.
also speaks about the persistency. So the 3D rule. So with where you are now, you are the principal of 300 children from the Five-Star Children Center. Where are you now? Like, what do you see in the future?
What I see in the future, Michelle, I see a future that people are experiencing their dreams or working on their dreams from a different level of life. You know, people are living a life that is full of fear and full of doubt, and people don't have courage to pursue their dreams beyond their comfort zone. And my life vision is I'm living in the place of one American great thinkers, Jim Rohn, who said, your life, my life, the life of each one of us will serve as either an example or a warning. An example of talents put to use, of discipline self-imposed, and of objectives clearly perceived and intensely pursued. And that is what I want. I want my life to serve as an example, to lead others, lead their lives, and follow their dreams and goals with courage and determination, and pursue their dreams with persistence
Mhm.
until something happens out of their lives.
Mhm. I think when we first connected, you had mentioned that the way that you're serving now, because this is a whole transformation coming to here, and you realize that mindset is so important. I think when we first connected, and you had mentioned that you're working on becoming a coach, it,
Yeah.
is that where you see yourself? Okay.
Mhm. And that's exactly, and that's what I say. I craft my message to deliver people to the people that their lives have meaning, and that you can live your dreams, and it all start from having that different mindset and having that developing that belief system that you can uh, uh, put yourself in a position where you can now start pursuing your goals and dreams without fear and without doubting your abilities and doubting your potential, because we say that your past does not equal your future is gone, and your past is gone, but your future is a blank canvas. You can do anything with it. And therefore, we need to put ourselves in that position. And it all starts from changing our minds and placing our minds to a place of winning and a place of uh, working on our dreams and goals and achieving the greatness that we want out of our lives.
Mhm. And I think you're in a very unique position where you're the principal of the school. And one of the things that I love about being a coach is that we're living by our example.
Yeah.
We experience that transformation, and here we are. We're living a living example of what life is possible. And I think it's a great gift to the children in this world, because we actually teach them how to overcome their obstacles in such an powerful way that never in my life had I had anyone else who taught me those skills. There's teacher along the way, but it was not something that I could put a label attached to it and say, oh, this is a positive mindset, oh, this is my negative self-talk, oh, this is my self-doubt. There was not a moment where I could fully understand it. So I think coaches makes great teachers, and I would love to come out there and volunteer at your school in the future.
Michelle. Yeah, welcome. And like you say, that one has indeed put me in a position that it grants me that opportunity to change lives from the beginning, from that tender age. I believe that the school is a good place for us to develop young boys and girls become uh, better citizens in the society. They say it's easier to build strong children and young boys and girls than to repair broken men. And so I believe that it has given me that opportunity to start working on these people. And when I felt like I take care of children, and once they leave my hands, they go and start working with their lives from different perspectives. Some are just family. I felt that I need to put myself in a position that I still handle these boys and girls in life as much as they leave school. And that is the position and a place that I live right now.
Mm-hmm. And you're also providing coaching service to the people around in your area, right? That's
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm. Mm.
Yeah, that's an amazing realization, and just coming out from someone who only had 50 cents in their pocket, and look at where you are now. So
God
if you
is
go ahead.
God is grateful, and that's favor of God.
I think that's your keynote
Yeah,
speech right there. The 50 cents, the last 50 cents in my pocket.
exactly.
Yeah. So if you were to use one word to describe yourself, looking into your future, one word to describe yourself in the future, what would that word be?
One word to describe myself in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would have a one word, but maybe I have just several words that explain themselves that bring that one word.
That's okay. What would be the several words?
In the future, I see myself, Les Brown says, we earn, we learn, we earn, and we pass it on. And what I see in myself is that I want to become that change agent, and I want to touch lives and try to enable people, coach them, and help them live their lives and start pursuing their goals beyond their comfort zone. And I'm seeing myself changing lives, like touching millions of lives. And my goal is to touch 1 million lives out of this life, because I have the capacity to do it. And I don't have to doubt myself that I can do what I'm doing right now.
I love it. Would it be okay if I suggest a word after all the
So,
several words?
thank you.
So the word is legacy. You want
Hmm.
to leave a legacy.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think we all should work
Hmm.
on leaving a legacy in the world.
Hmm.
Well, thank you so much for coming. And where can people find you?
I think they can find me. My name is, they can find me on YouTube. That is the Charles Edwards Show.
Mhm.
And over there, within the description, they can get every link from every social media that I work in. And possibly on Facebook, they can find the Charles Edwards online. They will find me there. Mhm.
Perfect. And I will have those in the episode note as well. So thank you so much for coming, Charles. And you're coming from all the way from Kenya.
Yeah.
And it's been a pleasure having you, and it's an honor to have you.
Thank you. It has also been a pleasure to let me be part of this show today.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching the live coffee talk show that's being aired every Wednesday at 8 o'clock Pacific time. And to find me on Facebook, you can find me at Life Coaching by Elevate. And now you can become a Patreon to the show. If you visit patreon.com/Michelle Quay, you can become a patron and support me. So I will see you next week for another episode of Coffee Talk Show. Bye, everyone.